On my way out to take the boys for a walk, and first time leaving the house with the Apple Watch. Put my Fitbit on the other wrist so I can kind of compare the two. Now, because I'm actually going to be taking the boys for a walk, I'm going to see how they both go in terms of auto detecting that I'm actually doing a walk. It may take a bit to actually start that because I'm walking the boys and they'll be stopping. I know it's usually after about 15 minutes of activity that it might start recording it. But he knows we've arrived. This is where we're going to walk, Dad. Let's go. Just getting close to the top of a bit of a hill. Both the Fitbit and the watch are in synchronization in where they're saying my heart rate is. They're both saying 100 just down there. The Apple Watch is now saying 107. And here's one of the reasons why I wanted to update, because the screen has gone so dim on the Fitbit now that I can't read it in outdoors light. So I've had to open the app to check what it says my heart rate is. So this is technically going to be the first official test of the new Apple Watch, the Series 8. In the unboxing, I can't remember if I said whether it was a GPS or a GPS and cellular. It's only the GPS version. I did do a fair bit of research and almost leant towards getting the cellular version, but I'm very rarely without my phone. Even when I'm doing work in the yard, the phone is in my pocket. It's always on me at work, but it's on silent. So I'm never really not near my phone. If I do get a notification, which is a message, text message or something like that, I'll be able to see it without having to get my phone out. Quite often I wouldn't feel the vibration of the phone in my pocket because I'm working in a workshop, but I should be able to feel it on my wrist. Like they say, the cellular version is good for those people who are really active and would go out without their phone. This is about as active as I get, unless these boys are in more of a walking mood. I'll let you know how this first walk gets recorded. So you can see I'm just hovering around the 100 and 101 beats again. It's the fat burn zone. That's kind of what I need. Just a bit of fat burn zone, not massive cardio. So that walk was about 3/4 of an hour. Didn't even realise. It'll be interesting to see whether the I wasn't asking you to start one now. Alright, so that little first goal is going to be shot. I'll have a check in the apps and see if they've actually picked it up, because I think I put on for it to record in the initial setup. And I'll check the Fitbit app. It'll probably say I walked for about half an hour instead of 45 because of how slow the start of the walk was. Been wearing the Apple Watch now for a few days. I think the official first day was the 1st of October, or maybe the 30th of September, because it shows the sleep data was from the 1st. When we were in the shopping centre yesterday, you go into the restroom and you're washing your hands and go to the hand dryer, and the watch tells me that it's an exceedingly loud environment. The decibels are up above 95. I'm going to be really interested to see what sort of readings the watch gives me in the classroom and the workshop, especially the construction one. What sort of noise levels am I actually putting myself in for up to 5 hours a day? I don't think I've met any of my health goals so far. I haven't been active enough for the little rings, haven't done all of the stand-ups, because I think you've got to stand up and move around at least once every hour. It's set for 12 hours, so like from the time you wake up to the time you go to bed or something like that. It did something this morning which I didn't realise it would do. I had my phone plugged into the truck with CarPlay. When the podcast that I was listening to started playing, I noticed that it had controls on the watch face to control the podcast, which was playing from the phone, but the watch was going to act as a remote. While in the truck, the car stereo is a lot easier to use because the buttons and everything are a lot bigger. If you're out listening to podcasts, had your headphones in, phones in your pocket, and you wanted to listen to something again, or you wanted to skip ahead, or you wanted to start another podcast, then being able to just look down on your watch and make a change rather than having to grab the phone out of your pocket, it's not a bad feature. One thing I did, I went through the watch app on my phone. There were a lot of apps that it said that had been installed on the watch that I don't think I really want on there, so I went through and unchecked them so I would remove them from the watch. I really don't want the watch giving me notifications for just about every app all day long. I'd like it to give me notifications from messages and iMessage and phone calls, medication reminders and that sort of thing. I don't want it giving me Twitter reminders or I'll need email reminders on there. I don't want other social media stuff coming through on the watch during the day. There's been times when I have felt the notification in my pocket. I've pulled my phone out thinking somebody's messaged or emailed me, and it's a Twitter thing. If I can have that not on the watch, then I know that if that things come through, it's going to be something that I might need to respond to. That's the one thing that I'm hoping to gain from this. I'm still wearing the Fitbit on the opposite wrist. I want to compare the data a little bit in between the apps, see how similar sleep data is now that it's starting to track the sleep data.
So as we can see, I'm looking at the data and the patterns look fairly similar. They seem to be picking up the same start and end times, although I noticed on this day Apple picked up that I dozed off earlier. The Apple one is on the left and the Fitbit's on the right, and
it's been an interesting experience so far because I have sleep settings set on my phone between 10 o'clock at night and 6 a.m. in the morning. It won't push notifications through or messages. It seems that in iOS 16 and probably like Apple Watch iOS 9, it said that it does a 45-minute reminder so that you start to wind down. Last night it gave out a little chime that sounded a bit like a lullaby song, and my wife said, "What's that?" And I looked at the top and went, "It's my watch telling me it's time to get ready for bed." And she said, "So you've bought yourself a nanny." It's been a week now that I've been wearing the Apple Watch Series 8, and there's a few more things that I've come to realise with it. I had gone through and done a whole stack of uninstalling apps that I didn't want on there because I didn't want all those notifications. Turns out the app doesn't have to be on the watch to actually have a notification push through. If there's a notification that comes through on the phone, it'll push it through to your watch. So I had to go into the watch software on the phone, the watch app. There's a section called notification. You go into there and it lists all of the apps that you might get notifications from on your phone. At the very top there's a mirror my phone for everything, but you can go down for each individual app. You go in and say whether you want it to mirror the phone or not. Don't push notifications to the watch. With all of those apps that were just, I don't need notifications for, use apps, Twitter and Facebook, left notifications on for my messaging apps, email, reminders, calendars. I'll have actual things pushed through that are important. Somebody messaging me, appointments coming up, medication reminders, those sort of things. I should have a reduced number of buzzes and vibrations on my wrist, which means that when I feel something and I look at it, it's something that I'm going to have to basically take action on or not. It's not something that's just going to be a distraction or a frustration. It tells me when to do those, time to stand up and move around. I've kind of ignored those if I've been right in the busy hit of something. Love that if an alarm goes off on my phone, it'll pop up the alarm on my watch as well, and you can stop or snooze the alarm from your watch. I am enjoying using it. I still have this on here at the moment. And I think one of the reasons I've got this is because the Fitbit records flights climbed when you're using stairs. I haven't seen whether the watch does that yet, Apple Watch. I still have a lot of exploring to do inside the apps and inside the watch. So if it does flights climbed as well, then I can get rid of this. I'm going up and down stairs all the time. Quite happy with it, and I haven't really had issues with the charging because it does have a fast charger. When I'd worn it overnight, this morning it had like somewhere between 60 and 70%. So I chucked it on the charge, check on the watch, fully charged, put it back on.